Have you ever stopped and listened to the voice inside your head? The one that tells you who you are, what you're worth. The one that whispers fears when you're about to leap, and sometimes shouts doubts when you're trying to dream. For years, I listened to that voice and I believed it. I believed I wasn't enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. But then I realized that voice wasn't the truth. It was just a habit. Your mind is powerful, but it's programmable. The words you speak to yourself are the instructions your brain follows. And just like a computer, what you input is what you output. So what if for just 3 days, you spoke to yourself with love, with courage, with conviction? What if you stopped replaying old pain and started writing a new story? What if you replaced I can't with this I will? What if you looked in the mirror and said, I am enough, until you started to believe it? You don't need a perfect past to create a powerful future. All you need is one decision to change your inner dialogue. And in just 3 days, you can rewire your brain and reset your mind. This isn't about pretending to be okay. This is about choosing to grow. This is about reclaiming your power from within. So I invite you, just for 3 days, talk to yourself like someone you love and watch how your life begins to transform. There are moments in life when the pain feels unbearable, when the weight of the world seems too heavy for your shoulders, and every breath feels like a silent cry for relief. We all carry scars, some visible, many hidden. Scars from heartbreak, loss, betrayal, failure. Scars that speak of moments we thought we'd never survive. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still becoming. Pain has a way of making us feel weak. It whispers lies in our ears, that we are broken, unworthy, or not enough. But let me ask you this, how can something that didn't destroy you define you? How can a moment of pain erase a lifetime of potential? The truth is, pain doesn't come to break you, it comes to build you. Every scar you carry is proof that you've overcome. Proof that life knocked you down, but you rose again. You see, strength isn't found in a life that's untouched by struggle. It's found in the way you rise after falling. It's in the quiet courage of showing up even when you're scared. It's in the decision to keep going, even when everything in you wants to give up. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs of growth. They are the marks left behind by battles you've won, lessons you've learned, and strength you've discovered. We live in a world that glorifies perfection. What to say? Smiles without pain, success without failure, beauty without flaws. But real life doesn't look like that. Real life is messy. It's raw. It's filled with challenges that test your limits. And yet, it's in those very moments that your true self is revealed. The version of you that keeps going, even when the road ahead is uncertain. The version of you that dares to heal, even when it hurts. You don't need to hide your pain to prove your strength. You don't need to pretend to be okay when you're not. What you need is to honor your journey, the highs and the lows, the cracks and the courage, because it is in the cracks that your light gets in. And it is through the pain that your transformation begins. Maybe life didn't turn out the way you planned. Maybe you've lost things you thought you couldn't live without. Maybe you've been hurt by people you trusted. But even so, you have the power to choose what those experiences mean. You can let them define you, or you can let them refine you. You can carry them as burdens, or you can wear them as badges of honor. There is something profoundly beautiful about a person who has been through the fire and still chooses to love, still chooses to rise, still chooses to believe in tomorrow. That's not weakness. That's not fragility. That's not fragility. That is fierce, unshakable strength. And the most incredible part, that strength was always inside you. Pain didn't create it. It revealed it. Pain pulled back the layers and exposed the resilience that was always there, waiting for the right moment to shine. So don't curse the pain. Don't regret the struggle. Learn from it. Grow through it. Let it shape you into someone who can stand tall, not in spite of your scars, but because of them. You may never be the same person you were before the storm. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the storm wasn't sent to destroy you. Maybe it was sent to introduce you to the version of yourself who's stronger, wiser, more compassionate, and more powerful than you ever imagined. So the next time you look at your scars, emotional or physical, don't look away in shame. Look at them with pride. Let them remind you that you survived, that you overcame, that you were tested and came out the other side transformed. Speak to yourself with kindness. Every single day, from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you close them, you are having a conversation with yourself. And whether you realize it or not, that conversation is shaping your life. The words you speak to yourself are not harmless, they are powerful. They create belief systems. They shape your identity. They influence your emotions, your actions, and eventually, your outcomes. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, and criticism, your world begins to reflect that negativity. But if you choose to speak with kindness, belief, and encouragement, everything starts to shift. Your brain listens to your words. It doesn't question them. It takes them as commands. So when you constantly say, "Oh, I can't do this," or "I'm not good enough," your brain finds ways to prove you right. But when you say, "Oh, I can handle this," or "I am capable," your brain goes to work to support that belief. It becomes your partner in courage instead of your prison of fear. Positive self-talk isn't about ignoring your problems or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about choosing to speak to yourself in a way that empowers you rather than limits you. It's about showing yourself the same compassion and encouragement that you would offer to someone you love. Because the truth is, the way you talk to yourself becomes the way you experience the world. Think about a moment when you felt defeated, and then remember what you were saying to yourself in that moment. Were your words lifting you up or tearing you down? Often, we are our own worst critics. We hold ourselves to impossible standards and then punish ourselves when we fall short. But growth doesn't happen through self-hate. It happens through self-belief. It happens when you tell yourself, "I'm learning," instead of "I'm failing." It happens when you say, "I'll try again," instead of "I give up." What you repeat, you reinforce. So if you wake up each day and feed your mind with doubt, fear, and comparison, that becomes your reality. But if you wake up and tell yourself, "With today, I am enough. Today, I will show up. Today, I will give myself grace," those words begin to create a new reality. One filled with possibility and hope. It takes practice. You won't rewrite years of negative thinking overnight. But every time you catch yourself slipping into that cycle of self-doubt, and you replace it with a word of encouragement, you're rewiring your brain. You're shifting your mindset. You're changing the way you see yourself and what you believe is possible. The words you use can either be the chains that keep you stuck or the keys that set you free. If you say you can't, you won't. If you say you're not ready, you'll never begin. But if you start to say, "I'm ready to grow," even if it scares you, you open a door. And that door leads to transformation. Speak life into your own heart. Remind yourself that setbacks are part of the journey, not signs of failure. Talk to yourself like someone worth fighting for, because you are. Tell yourself that you are doing your best, that progress matters more than perfection, and that every step forward, no matter how small, is something to be proud of. You might not control every thought that enters your mind, but you can control which ones you give power to. And that power lies in your words. Your words are seeds. Plant doubt and you'll harvest hesitation. Plant belief and you'll harvest action. Plant love and you'll harvest confidence. It all begins with what you choose to say to yourself. So start now. Speak words that build, not break. Words that heal, not harm. Words that open doors, not close them. Choose to be your greatest encourager, your own source of strength. Because the world outside you can be loud, chaotic, and unkind. But the voice inside you can be your calm, your guide, your home. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect to believe in yourself. Believe first, speak powerfully, and watch your world rise to meet your words. The transformation begins the moment you do. We live in a world where beauty is often measured by filters, numbers, and impossible standards. A world that tries to convince you that your worth is something you have to earn through appearance, achievement, validation. From the moment you're old enough to understand the concept of a pretty or as successful, the world begins to hand you labels. Labels based on your weight, your skin, your job, your status, your background. And slowly, without even realizing, you begin to define yourself through someone else's lens. But here's the truth that gets lost in all the noise. You were never meant to be defined by a number on a scale, a bank account, a relationship status, or the likes on a screen. Your worth was never meant to be measured. You were born worthy. You were born enough, not because of what you could achieve, or how you look, or who approves of you, but simply because you exist. Society will try to shrink you. It will tell you to be thinner, quieter, softer, more this, less that. It will create boxes and expect you to fit inside them. But you don't belong in a box. You were created with depth, with layers, with a story that can't be simplified into a single label. You are not too much. You are not enough. You are exactly who you were meant to be. And that in itself is beautiful. Beauty is not skin deep. It's soul deep. It's in your laughter after tears. It's in the strength behind your silence. It's in the way you rise after falling, the way you show up even when you're scared, the way you choose kindness in a world that often forgets it. Real beauty can't be seen through a filter. It's felt in your courage, your compassion, your truth. You don't have to earn your place in this world by becoming more palatable, more perfect, or more polished. You already belong. The most powerful thing you can do is show up as yourself, unapologetically. That's not arrogance. That's authenticity. That's saying, I will not be defined by someone else's expectations. I will define myself. What isn't something that increases with accomplishments? It doesn't decrease with mistakes. It isn't something that disappears when someone walks away, or when you fail, or when life doesn't go as planned. Your worth is constant, steady, unshakable. Even on your worst day, even when you feel like you have nothing to give, you are still enough. Too often, we look for external validation to feel valuable. We want someone to choose us, to affirm us, to make us feel seen. But the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you begin to see your own worth, truly see it, you stop chasing the approval of those who can't even recognize their own. You don't need to fit into society's narrow definitions to be beautiful or worthy. You can be radiant in your realness. You can be powerful in your imperfections. You can be whole even while healing. The world doesn't need another perfect image. It needs more real people willing to stand tall in their truth. There will be days when you doubt yourself, days when the mirror reflects insecurity instead of strength. Days when you question your value because someone failed to see it. But let those moments be reminders, not of what you lack, which you've forgotten. You are not the labels people place on you. You are not the stories others tell about you. You are not your failures or your fears. You are every time you tried again. You are every act of love, every word of truth, every brave choice you've made. You are the fire that keeps burning, even in the dark. You are the soft heart that keeps opening, even after being hurt. That is your beauty. That is your beauty. That is your worth. No one gets to decide your value but you. And when you begin to see it, really see it, you'll stop shrinking. You'll stop apologizing for taking up space. You'll stop hiding the parts of you that don't fit someone else's mold, and you'll begin to live boldly, fully, freely. It's not your job to please the world. It's your job to honor who you are. To wake up each day and speak to yourself with love. To look in the mirror and say, this is me, and that's more than enough. Not because you've reached some imaginary standard, but because your soul, your essence, your truth is already worthy. Let go of the lie that you need to become more to be loved. Let go of the idea that you need to be perfect to be accepted. Let go of the belief that your worth is tied to your appearance or achievements. You are already enough. Right now, as you are. When you finally embrace that truth, something incredible happens. You begin to glow, not with perfection, but with purpose. You begin to walk with ease. You begin to treat yourself with the kindness you once waited for from others. And that changes everything. So, no matter what the world says, no matter how loud the voices of comparison or insecurity become, never forget this. You are more than any label. You are more than enough. There are seasons in life when it feels like everything is falling apart. When what you hoped for slips through your fingers. When people walk away, when plans unravel, and dreams break. In those moments, it's so easy to become consumed by what you've lost. To fixate on the void, to replay the pain, and to live in the shadow of what's no longer there. But in the middle of all that sorrow, there is something powerful that has the ability to shift your perspective, to soften the sting, and to help you heal. That something is gratitude. Gratitude isn't about pretending that everything is okay when it isn't. It's not about ignoring your pain or minimizing your loss. It's about choosing to see that even in the midst of difficulty, there is still something good. Something steady, something worth holding on to. It's about anchoring yourself in the present instead of drowning in the past. When you focus on what you have rather than what you've lost, you begin to reclaim your power. Because no matter how much has changed, there is still breath in your lungs. There is still strength in your bones. There is still strength in your bones. There are still moments of beauty, even if they're quiet or small. And those moments matter. They remind you that life hasn't given up on you. That joy can still exist alongside sorrow. It's easy to be grateful when everything is going right. But true healing begins when you learn to be grateful, even in the middle of uncertainty. When you say, I don't have everything I want, but I'm thankful for what I do have. That kind of gratitude isn't shallow. It's transformative. It shifts your heart from bitterness to peace, from emptiness to fullness, from despair to resilience. Sometimes we get so focused on what we've lost that we forget to see what's left. We overlook the people who stayed, the lessons we've learned, the strength we've gained, and the opportunities we still have. Loss will always hurt. But gratitude gives us the eyes to see that loss is not the only thing present. Life is still offering us moments to cherish, people to love, lessons to grow from, and beauty to notice, even if it looks different than before. Gratitude doesn't mean you stop grieving. It means you allow light to enter the darkness. It means you choose to open your heart instead of closing it. It means you say, yes, this hurts, but I won't let it steal every ounce of joy I have left. Because healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, intentional moments. And one of the most powerful of those moments is when you pause to say thank you. Thank you for another sunrise. Thank you for the strength to get out of bed. Thank you for the quiet kindness of a friend. Thank you for the ability to feel, to hope, to start again. Gratitude reminds you that you are still here, still living, still capable of experiencing love, joy, purpose, and peace. It helps you to stop waiting for the one day and start appreciating at this day. Because healing doesn't always come through answers or explanations. Sometimes it comes through appreciation. Sometimes the shift you need is not in your circumstances, but in your perspective. When you start practicing gratitude, even in the smallest ways, you begin to notice things you once took for granted. The smile of a stranger. Sure. The warmth of sunlight on your face. The quiet stillness of early morning. These are not just moments, they are lifelines. They pull you out of your pain and remind you that life still has something to offer you. You might not be able to change the past. You might not have control over everything that's happened, but you do have control over how you respond. You have the power to choose what you focus on. And when you choose gratitude, you choose healing. You choose hope. You choose to move forward. Start where you are, with what you have. With what you have. It doesn't have to be big. It can be something as simple as clean water, a soft bed, a kind word. Write it down. Speak it out. Feel it. Let that gratitude grow inside you like a seed. The more you feed it, the more it blossoms. And soon, you'll begin to feel lighter. Not because life is suddenly perfect, but because your heart is finally open to joy again. Gratitude is not a destination. It's a practice, a habit, a mindset. And like all powerful things, it takes time to develop. But once you do, it becomes a shield against despair. It becomes a tool for healing. It becomes a way of life that transforms the way you see yourself, others, and the world. So when it feels like everything is broken, when your heart is heavy and your soul is tired, take a moment, breathe, look around, and find one thing, just one thing, to be grateful for. That one thing might not fix everything, but it will be the first step toward healing, toward peace, toward becoming whole again. Because healing doesn't always begin with a grand breakthrough. Sometimes it begins with a quiet thank you. Pain has a way of shaking us to our core. It doesn't knock on the door gently. It barges in, uninvited, and rearranges everything. It leaves you breathless, questioning, searching for meaning in the middle of the mess. At first, it seems like the pain has come only to break you, to take everything you knew and turn it upside down. And while it may do exactly that, it also brings with it a quiet invitation to rise, to rebuild, to discover a deeper purpose within the wreckage. No one escapes life without struggle. Everyone has a story, and every story has its chapters of hurt, confusion, disappointment, and loss. But what makes a story powerful is not how perfect it is. It's how the pain was transformed, how the hardest moments became the foundation for something greater. Because the truth is, your most painful experiences can become your most powerful testimony. The mess in your life, the heartbreaks, the setbacks, the failures, the rejection, can either be the reason you stop living or the reason you start living with intention. Pain carves out space for growth. It teaches you things ease never could. It deepens your empathy. It refines your vision. It wakes you up to truths you didn't know you needed. You were never meant to stay stuck in your suffering. You were meant to rise from it, to let it shape you, not shatter you. And then, most importantly, to reach back and use what you've learned to help someone else. That is where your purpose begins. That is where your mess becomes your message. Because someone out there is going through what you survived. Someone is searching for hope in the same darkness that once surrounded you. Your story might be the light they need. It's easy to think you're not ready to speak about your pain, that you need to be fully healed before your story can help others. But healing is not a finish line. It's a journey. It's a journey. And sometimes just sharing how you're walking through it, even while you're still healing, is the most authentic and impactful message you can give. You don't need to have all the answers to give someone hope. You just need to be real. To show them that pain doesn't have the final say. That growth is still possible. That joy can still be found. Your vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength. When you choose to open up about your pain, you give others permission to do the same. And in that connection, healing happens. Often we try to hide our wounds, ashamed of our mess. But those very wounds are proof that we've endured, that we've grown, that we're still here. And in a world full of masks and perfection, your honesty is a gift. Your scars tell a story not of defeat, but of survival. And when you use those stories with purpose, you bring meaning to the pain that once seemed meaningless. Sometimes the purpose you've been searching for isn't found in a job title or a grand achievement. Sometimes it's found in the quiet way you encourage someone, because you know exactly how it feels to be where they are. Sometimes it's found in the simple act of saying, "I've been there too." And you're not alone. Your purpose doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be public. It just has to be true. And it will always be rooted in your most honest experiences. The lessons you've learned in the valley will carry more wisdom than anything you've gained on the mountaintop. That's why your pain matters. Not just because it shaped you, but because it has the potential to guide others. Purpose through pain doesn't mean glorifying suffering. It means refusing to let your suffering go to waste. It means letting your story become a tool for hope, change, healing, courage. It means turning your why me into watch me rise, watch me grow, watch me turn what was meant to destroy me into something that builds others up. It may take time, it may be hard, but the moment you choose to look at your pain not just as a wound, but as a seed, a beginning, that's when everything starts to shift. Because what grows from pain, when nurtured with purpose, becomes unshakable. It becomes legacy. You don't have to pretend the pain didn't hurt. You don't have to erase the struggle, but you do have the power to give it purpose. And that purpose is what transforms you. It gives weight to your words, depth to your compassion, and clarity to your path. So take your story, the raw, real, broken, beautiful story, and use it. Use it to uplift. Use it to speak truth. Use it to remind others that pain is not the end of the road, that healing is possible, that something beautiful can rise from the ashes. Because it's not just about surviving the storm, it's about learning to dance in the rain and then teaching others how to do the same. Your message doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be yours. And that alone makes it powerful. That alone makes it enough. The words you speak to yourself shape everything. Your mindset, your confidence, your choices. Your entire reality begins with that quiet, constant voice inside your head. And while the world may be loud with opinions, it's your inner voice that becomes the most powerful influence in your life. If that voice is full of doubt, criticism, or fear, it will build a life rooted in limitations. But if it's filled with encouragement, belief, and strength, it will push you forward even when life gets hard. Real change begins not from the outside in, but from the inside out. You talk to yourself more than anyone else. The conversation never stops. It runs beneath your thoughts, shaping how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. Yet most of us never stop to ask, is this voice helping me or holding me back? Self-talk is often the echo of old stories. What you were told as a child, what society said you should be, the lies you picked up along the way. And if you never question those stories, you start to accept them as truth. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I always mess things up. Aim too broken to change. These are not facts. They are beliefs born from pain, rejection, fear, and failure. But beliefs can be rewritten. You have the power to change the narrative. You have the power to speak differently to yourself. And when you do, you begin to see yourself differently. You begin to move differently. And that changes everything. Changing your self-talk isn't about blind positivity or ignoring reality. It's about speaking with kindness, honesty, and compassion to yourself, even when things are hard. It's choosing to become your own encourager instead of your harshest critic. Because how can you expect the world to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? Every time you tell yourself, I can, instead of I can't, you open a door. Every time you say, I'm learning, instead of I failed, you build resilience. Every time you whisper, I'm worthy, instead of I'm not enough, you reclaim your value. And over time, the small shifts in language create massive shifts in identity. Your words become your beliefs. Your words become your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your actions. And your actions shape your destiny. That's why this work matters. Because nothing will change until you change the way you see and speak to yourself. If you keep calling yourself weak, you will act weak. If you keep calling yourself broken, you will never feel whole. You are it. But if you start calling yourself strong, brave, worthy, capable, even when you don't fully believe it yet, you begin to rise into that version of yourself. Brain listens to your self-talk. It responds to repetition. So even if it feels unnatural at first, keep going, say it anyway. Say it until the voice of doubt loses its grip. Say it until it feels like truth. It's not about faking confidence. It's about training your mind to recognize your own strength, even when fear tries to blind you to it. You are not the voice of your past. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not the lies you once believed. You are what you choose to repeat to yourself today in this moment. And when you choose words that build rather than break, that encourage rather than shame, that love rather than judge, you begin to step into a life that reflects those truths. The change won't happen overnight, but it will happen, one word at a time, one choice at a time. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you love, because you deserve that same love. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon, your inner voice becomes your ally, not your enemy. Your mindset becomes a place of growth, not defeat, and your life begins to mirror that transformation. The world will always have opinions about who you should be, but only your inner voice can decide who you truly become. So make it a voice of hope. Make it a voice of courage. Make it a voice that reflects the future you are creating, not the past you've outgrown. You can rewrite the story. You can rewire your thinking. You can redefine your entire destiny. It all starts with one simple shift. Talk to yourself like someone who matters, because you do, too.